Hey everybody, Randy here. I just wanted to share with you guys that today's episode is going to be a little bit different than most. It was recorded last Monday during the tour postponement announcement, and we start off the episode very excited about the upcoming tour and the Toronto show that was supposed to be happening on that day, and we, somewhere in the middle, we found out about the news and it kind of took a turn. So it's sort of a lot of raw emotions in this, and you kind of, I guess from a fan perspective, you get to see how exactly our show flipped from being so excited about one thing to being absolutely devastated about not getting something, in a major tour. And knowing what we know now, that everything is canceled, makes it a lot easier to do this and release this, but it was definitely difficult at the time. But I just wanted to share that all with you guys so nobody's alarmed and nobody thinks that this is kind of late to the punch news. So hopefully besides that, you enjoy it. It's a very good show, but it was definitely a struggle to get through. So here it is.
And away we go.
You're listening to Live on Four Legs, the live Pearl Jam podcast experience, featuring
Mr. Stone Gossard. Fucking Cameron in the drum. Mr. Boom Gasper. You can call me Al, you can call me Ed, you just fucking call me, why don't you?
Hey everybody, now welcome to Live on Four Legs, the definitive live Pearl Jam podcast. If you're here for the first time, the last time, or the 100th time, you guys know the drill. What we do is we cover a show every single episode. We talk about something from the Pearl Jam lore and era, a couple of songs that were important to a set list, something important and meaningful. And today we are falling on the day of the tour. It is tour season, finally. Toronto, on this day that we're releasing this episode, the 18th of Wednesday, we're finally getting a tour, and I'm so excited for it. And the excitement is just rampant, and I can't wait to go to MSG, and I can't wait to go to St. Louis, and I can't wait to meet all you guys. Everything is it's awesome. It's through the roof right now. My excitement is overboard, and I can't wait for everything. So, of course, for a Toronto show that's happening tonight, we're going to cover a Hartford episode. I hear the crickets in the background, so yeah, we'll move on from that. But we have two very special guests. First guest, he is a man who he was a pioneer in Live on Four Legs that helped build the show and make it what it is today. If you were back in the olden days listening in 2018 into 2019, you probably remember him. You probably remember a lot of his hot takes, and he's here for a major reason today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Original Live on Four Legs host, Matt Helbig.
I've been waiting for this moment since Boston.
Since Avocado came out, basically.
Well, if you want to go that far back, sure.
Welcome back to the show.
Hello.
This is I'm very excited that there's been some times where we've kind of been like, hey Matt, come back, and it hasn't worked, but here we are. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to do a full episode today, but you're going to do up to what you can, and that's enough for us.
Yeah, I mean, I miss everybody, and it's not because I stopped liking the band or the podcast or anything like that. Randy and I did not have a falling out or whatever it might be. It's
I don't think anybody thought
it's
that.
just that I've been fortunate enough to be able to focus on my own music, and I've been doing that basically every day for the past year or so, and it got to be a lot. So I'm glad to be able to just get in here for as much time as possible to talk a little bit, especially since the hype train is just like, off the tracks right now. So,
oh yeah. This is the time to be talking about it, and we're very excited for Gigaton. We're just counting the days. It's probably 9 days until the Gigaton comes out. You're gonna come to the event that we're doing at the record store, right?
Yeah, I plan on leaving Citi Field Mets opening day and coming straight there right after.
So let's get into our other guest today. This was a Patreon requested episode from Kevin Murray. And when he requested this episode, of course, I was going to say, yes, we're doing it. It's a Hartford episode. Obviously, I have a very large Hartford bias. It's my state, so I have to. But this was a really good show, and also one that I realized that our other guest, I suppose, was at, and it makes sense because, of course, with the show, the tour starting today, we can invite him on, and he can talk about his freaking wonderful website that is absolutely a treasure to the Pearl Jam community. Live Footsteps. I was thinking Live on Four Legs for a second, but that might be something else. Don't know what it is. Livefootsteps.org, creator Jave Dantausch. I said it right that time. Right, Jave?
Yeah, Jave. Yeah.
Ask Javes. That should be the new search engine. AskJaves.com.
But it's all Pearl Jam related information only.
That's essentially what Live Footsteps
there it is.
Wow.
Yes.
We have come full circle. Dave, thanks for coming on. We heard you earlier in the week. We did our draft episode and got to hear some of your picks and struggles to keep up with the draft because you were filling in everything. Tell everybody what you were doing for the fantasy league that you were able to build these pages on Live Footsteps to basically build our own league standing. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah. I was trying to do it live, just like I do the live footsteps, trying to keep the stats up to date while you guys were picking your songs. It didn't go as well because I was also picking my own songs, so I was trying to keep track of that and trying to pick my own songs and figure out what was going on. And at the time, I didn't have the whole back end of the site built for the fantasy, so I was like looking up numbers, plugging in stuff. It was not easy.
But it's such a cool it's such a cool thing that you did, because it's essentially like going to a Yahoo fantasy league and seeing your stats. That's what it's going to be. You can see all the teams, you can see their songs, you can see the songs on waivers. You built such a cool thing there.
Yeah, thank you.
You actually just relaunched your site recently.
Yes.
You had a couple of things in there for super users that were really in-depth things that I was thankfully, fortunately able to use for statistics for this show. But now you've been able to make them for everybody. So what are some of the new functions that you have on the site?
So I now am able to show everybody the song before, song after, whatever song you're looking at. So if you're at a show and you hear Jeremy, you're going to know that whatever song is going to be next, or not particularly, but within percentages, you know, okay, most of the time they play this song after Jeremy or Comatose or whatever. Find your set positions, song positions. Is a song mostly played between set 1 and 5, 6 and 10, It's all broken down into where a song falls within a set.
Did you add in the function of like being able to search for two different songs at the same time, like what's been played back to back and things like that, or like you can search like the Mama song? Or
I
something,
will be
or
adding. I will be. Yes.
Okay. So
I will be adding that in. It wasn't a priority, but it is going to be during the early part of this tour. It will be available.
Cool. So yeah, those are things that I loved to see, because there's always, especially for this show in particular, you have both Matt and I. This is why we wanted to do this so much. Both of our songs that are number one must-see song that we've never heard before are actually back-to-back in this show. And it's the only time that they've ever been back-to-back, and maybe the only time that they've ever been played at the same show. Verena J and Big Wave. So that's
probably
why we're
never
doing.
will be again.
Yeah, it's not happening unless there's some sort of magic in the air and, the band is listening to something out there. We're probably not getting it, but...
And, I thought it would be funny if, since this is coming out on, its tour kickoff, it would kind of be funny to compare this set list to what they play today on their tour kickoff, see what kind of lines up, and I could tell you probably not a lot of it, which is
no. You're not going to get
if it does line up, then we might be in for a wild tour season here, so we could
yeah,
hope.
I think it's going to be very unlikely that they finish a first encore with Leash and Blood in 2020. It's not in the cards, but we'll see. Look, anything can happen. That's the magic.
Stranger
that's the
things
beauty
have
of this
happened.
band. Absolutely. So let's get into the show a little bit. Dave, you were at this show. I'm curious because this is what is now known as the Xfinity Center. I used to call it the Meadows when I first moved to Connecticut. Some people call it the New England Dodge Center. It's had about 5 or 6 different names over the course of a handful of years that I've known about it and I've been to it. So it is one of the grassy field theaters, outdoor amphitheater. You have your seating area that's under a roof, and then you have the seats that the grass that's pushed back. So where were you for the show?
I was actually just outside the domed area. I believe there was some seats right up at the top, and that's where I was over on I guess Boom side, you would say, or Stone side.
I think you were fortunate to get seats because I've again been there a bunch of times, and the grass is not good. I don't like being on the grass anywhere, but if you're getting a cheap show, usually you're getting the grass. So, and apparently it was very hot this night. Do you remember that?
It was very, very hot. It was very,
the dry.
It kind of rained earlier in the day, and it got really, really muggy. It was really hot. That
bodes well for that bodes horribly for everybody that's on the grass, because obviously, if you don't come prepared with a chair or a blanket, then you're screwed. But Ed mentions it a bunch of times that it was uncomfortable because of the weather. But what from the show, besides the set list and besides like how unique it is, what stands out to you? Like, what are your memories from being there?
Well, we got there earlier in the day. It was a little. We were a little hesitant about pulling in because of the supposed rain that was coming around. I remember pulling into the parking lot to tailgate, and I remember them checking our cars for alcohol, and we're like, oh man, like we were staying at the we're staying at a like Motel 6, like right across the street from the venue. So we kept on seeing people get checked, and we're like, we don't want to have all our stuff taken. So we parked and then took a long walk to try to find a packy store to get something else to sneak it in.
Right.
And I remember parking next to a friend of mine from college that I had no idea was going to be at the show. And it was, gave me the idea a couple of years later that he was there for a bachelor party. And I was like, you know what? When I get married, I want to go to a Pearl Jam show as part of my bachelor party.
I mean, Matt, if they were playing in 2019, that would have been it.
That would have been a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, Mohegan was fun and all. We got lost in the damn place like 5 times, but
I
Pearl
couldn't
Jam
find
show
shit for like 30 minutes.
what a weird night. But yes. not you know, I would have definitely taken a Pearl Jam show over just about anything for a bachelor party. But yeah, that's a freaking awesome idea. One thing that, Matt, this was 2 days after the MSG show that we went to in 2008, my first show. So listening to it and knowing what I know now, I'm having major freaking regrets over not being at the show. My brother was in, I wasn't living here at the time. That was, I think, my last year of college, and I was going through summer courses, and my brother was living in Connecticut. We could have crashed at his place. What were we thinking? Why were we not at this show? Were we just too naive?
Yes. I think we didn't really... Yeah, we didn't get the full scope for sure. And,
right.
And listen, what was that? It was like June 25th, right?
June 25th was MSG, so this was the 27th.
I mean, come on. I mean, we got the Go set ender. We had gotten that's the one where the backup singers did like WMA. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So listen, we got a pretty good
special show. Ace Frehley,
good show. Ace Frehley and
Release is
Last
the
Kiss,
opener,
of course, one of the best Pearl Jam songs ever. But yeah, so I mean, we got a good show. I just don't think, it's different now for sure.
But it's funny because even looking back on this and this show, there are 5 songs, and maybe 3 or 4 of those 5 I haven't seen from this show. I'm absolutely dying to see. So imagine if what the tables would be like right now if we were at the show. I saw Brain of J. Would I? And that's part of the reason why I'm trying to go to way more shows all the time, is that I have to at least hear this once. I don't know if I would have been. I probably would have, but maybe not as desperate to get to all these shows had I have gone to this one and heard it. So that's going to be kind of a theme going on in the show, especially very early on. There are some that you just don't hear at all. So why don't we get into it? We kick the show off with the Metamorphosis 2, and the band hits the stage. And originally on the set list, it was supposed to be Sometimes, but you get it crossed off, and you get something way rarer than that. You get a little Riot Act with Can't Keep.
I wanna wind down, I wanna leave this mind and shout I've lived all these lives like an ocean in disguise. I wanna live forever. You can't keep me. You
they were not playing the song at all during this time. This one would be the last appearance until 2013, and really only been played 3 times since that night. But sort of the perfect kind of opener, because it's setting the tone of there are going to be a lot of random freaking things in this show, and this one is that appetite whetter that is going to tell you, get ready, because there's not going to be an even flow mid-set. There's not going to be all the things that you expect to be there. It's going to be mixed up a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I have a little story about Can't Keep. We were waiting outside for so long, and I was waiting in line, trying to get inside, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta piss so bad. I'm standing, finally got to our seat, and I'm like, all right, Brian, I'm telling my brother, I gotta go. And he's like, the show's gonna start, come on. So I run to go, and as I'm walking back, I hear Can't Keep start playing. And just think of Can't Keep. And I'm like started rushing to run back to my seat as it's playing. And it was like we said, it was very, very hot out. So I'm like, shorts, flip-flops, and I'm running up these stairs, and I roll my ankle.
Oh no!
So bad as I'm going back. So the entire show, I'm like either leaning back on my chair or standing on one leg because my ankle's killing me.
Oh no!
And I'm like, so I'm not jumping around during the entire show. I'm just like, all right, I gotta hold on here. That was one of the big memories that I had from
bad
that.
Show to be injured during, because there's so many rockers during this show too.
I know.
I just feel for you, man.
Oh man, I was sitting there. I was like, God damn it! And like after the show, we were like, I'm glad we didn't have to walk far, because I was like, oh man.
Again, this show is filled with a lot of surprises, a lot of deeper cuts, and Can't Keep is pretty much perfect here. Anything else, Matt? You didn't roll your ankle during this, but did you enjoy it as the opener?
Yeah, for sure. I'll always say that this is one of, if not the most repetitive Pearl Jam song, and I absolutely love it and sounded great.
Good. I'm glad you were positive about it.
It's almost like,
I'm glad that repetitive meant positive.
They just keep repeating, it's verse, chorus, but every time they kind of go back into that after the chorus, the main riff for the verse, and just start it up again. It's such a good part. You don't mind it, that it just keeps coming over and over again. So
right,
yeah, it's great.
Very steady.
And that verse is very kind of ominous. It's definitely set apart from the chorus, and I feel like that's a great way to start the show, with that contrast and that darkness kind of bringing you in. So
absolutely, and the 4 songs that would follow are 4 that have probably never been in the same set again. Breaker Fall, Last Exit, God's Dice, and All Night. Already in the first 5 songs, you have 1 Riot Act, you have 2 Binaural, a Vitalogy, and a Lost Dog. And first of all, we have to make mention to All Night, because All Night in 2008, this was sort of its coming out party, and it was being played at every show. And of course, for longtime listeners, they know that All Night is my anti-White Whale. That every single show that I go to that they got to play a rarity, All Night is the rarity. I'm like, I've seen it 5 of the 26 times that has been played. I am quite finished with it. But I mean, there's no Corduroy, there's no Wygo or Go or even like a Severed Hand that was being played really early in sets, because Avocado was very fresh at the time. So first of all, that's 3 album openers to open the show, from Riot Act, Binaural, and Vitalogy, and then a number 2 in God's Dice, and if you want to say number 1, because All Night's the number 1 on Lost Dog. So you have a bunch of early album songs as it is, but none of these are ever in the same stratosphere as each other.
Yet they all work very well together. except for, well,
They are all normally played in the first 5 songs of a show.
But almost never together.
Oh, no.
no.
It's usually fall, Breaker Fall would be like Breaker Fall into Hell Hell, or, Last Exit, Corduroy, very basic rock and Pearl Jam set. But God's Dice is kind of the glue in all this that, like, to me, if I were to hear God's Dice in this set, I'd be that's my second sign of, damn, I don't know what else they can do today to sort of throw some surprises at me, but there's about 100 more.
The only thing I can't stand here is All Night. It's I don't know. It's like a bad cover song that they should never have covered or something. It's just
Well, I'm glad I've only seen it once.
I don't feel like it's them. It doesn't feel like
Kind
they're
of Motown-ish. I don't know.
It's just I don't know, man. It's never my favorite. But
it's a B-side for a reason.
yeah.
But I've also, if I had only seen it one time live, maybe I would think differently of it, or think, not think less of it, because I'm just sick of hearing it. They were very energetic on all of these.
Yeah, I was going to say also with Last Exit that I thought the intro was very sloppy, almost to where it was a little tough to tell the timing where he was.
Go,
but
guys.
but it was just no. It was, but that wasn't a bad thing. I feel like it was because they came out of Breaker Fall and they had such good passion and energy with the song that. You know how they kind of get ahead of themselves sometimes. And,
Oh, yeah.
But this wasn't in a bad way. It was just, I was like, okay, where's the count here for Last Exit? This is Last Exit, right? Let's go. Okay, there it is. Jeff comes in, the drums come in, and then it kind of makes sense. But you could tell, I think they were just kind of fired up, and it showed there. Again, not in a bad way, just a little sloppy, but passionate.
I think my idea of this little section here of them being fired up is absolutely the big scream on Breaker Fall. Whenever Eddie, and he does it multiple times in this show, he just puts it up at another level. This one was good, and this one brought the crowd into it and got them fired up early on. I would think that, Dave, you would probably agree with, even though you were hobbling.
I was still hobbling along, so. But I was definitely like God's Dice and All Night. That was the one and only time I've ever seen those, heard those. It was awesome. It was an awesome show.
Yeah, right off the like I said, can't keep God's Dice, 2 that I've never seen before, and I don't have a lot of Pearl Jam regrets, but this is it's turning in. This one is turning into one the more we talk about it. So, in between the section and going into the next one, Ed speaks and says he's not sure who played there last, but the bathroom is really stinky and it wasn't him. So. We're gonna have to see who played there.
That's not what you want.
No.
Anybody.
But it is what you need.
That's not what anybody wants.
And then he mentions a bunch of random Connecticut towns. I'm sure that they were on the tour bus and he saw some signs and he was just like, all right, so this one's for Manchester, Ellington, New Britain, which is a town that I used to live basically in, Colchester, and then Danbury. And he's like, small town, get it? Ha 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 ha. Yes, we get it. And that gets into a good singing rendition of Small Town. Everybody, you can hear the crowd crystal clear on it. I don't have really too much on Small Town. If Dave, if you have a little bit more on it, we can elaborate. But I really want to get into the next 3.
There's nothing. It's a standard song.
That's exactly. Yep. That's exactly what. Matt remembers the time where we would have to go through every song one by one and say, did you think it was good? Did you like this version of it? Do you think that they were doing good in it?
It's funny that you say that because after a few months of not recording the podcast, it was actually really nice to hear this one. It had gotten dry and old, and I never wanted to hear it again for a while there. But man, I liked it. It was good to hear. It was good to come back to.
I love when that happens, when you just, especially doing the show and doing, basically, like I recorded a different show the night before recording this one that we're recording now, and, sometimes you get, we've gotten immortality in a lot of sets, and I'm never going to complain about immortality, but I'm just noticing, hey, the last 4 or 5 weeks we've got immortality. I'm not sick of it yet. That's not a song I'll ever get sick of, but when we do get to a point where we're not going to cover it, I'm going to be really excited that we're doing it again. So, it's good to get a refresher every now and then. So this 3-song section is, at least 2 of this 3 is like my dream section for what I want to hear on this tour. These 2 songs back to back.
It's 3 out of 3, I think. Come on, Randy.
I want to hear it for you. I don't. I'm like, I have a soft spot for it.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, just because you talk about it so much, and like I can't root against you because anything that you're speaking highly and speaking positive of with this band, I wanna cherish. So yeah, okay, yeah, I really would love to see all 3 of these songs on tour more than any other, but especially the first 2 are like the top 2 on my list. So it goes.
I think I've seen the first 2. It was years ago I have. You
definitely saw Sad. I know you saw Sad because you were at that first Chicago show in 2009, and they did Sad that night. I wasn't at that show.
Right.
I'm keeping tabs on that.
Got it.
I don't know when you saw Brandon J, but I believe you when you say you did.
I'd have to look it up.
I wonder where you can do that, Dave. Can you give us a hint?
Is there a shameless plug we could do right now for a website?
Livefootsteps.org.
There it is.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. That would be a good place to do that. So, all right, Sad, Brain of J, Big Wave. These are 3 songs that are just, I'm chasing them. I absolutely love Sad. It's fantastic. It's forceful. It's energetic. And it fits the mood of this night really well. Along with Brain of J, you got 2 songs that are kind of in the uncommon category there, or like, at the bottom of the common list. And these are just, the energetic songs of this night are what basically propels it. And I'll never say a damn bad thing about Brain of J, but this one was just, it was fitting the mood.
Awesome too. They only had one cool down there at number 6, and then
they go right back into it.
Yeah, this is not a cool down set at all. This set is, the whole thing is pretty bonkers, to be honest. So they're not wasting time. They're not wasting songs. They're not wasting placements, except for maybe 1 or 2 songs that personally I just don't like. But even then, I mean, it's still a home run. Aside from 1 or 2 songs,
But this is also, in a typical set, could be a give and a fly, an even flow in this spot. And you're getting, 3 songs that, combine them all together, they haven't been played 200 times altogether. I don't think so.
According to Setlist FM, they've actually been played 3,000 times each.
What cover band is playing Big Wave 3,000 times? Yours?
Matt Helbig and the Big Waves, yes.
All right, since you mentioned it, it's the Live on Four Legs debut, and that's why Matt is here. Everybody that is an OG fan of the show from day one knows that Matt's favorite song or white whale of a song is Big Wave. And to this day, I don't know if I understand why, because I don't know anybody else that feels the same. It's a good rockin' song, don't get me wrong, and I think if you were never obsessed with it, I would just kind of think of it as just another song.
It really doesn't even have anything to do with the song. It's off of Avocado, which is my favorite.
That's your favorite. Yeah.
It was cool for the time. I remember getting it. I remember listening to it. Loved the song. Loved the album. And then when they didn't play it at Irving Plaza, I think that just it almost triggered something into my brain to where now it's like an obsession.
Yeah.
And it almost has nothing to do with the song anymore. It's just this itch I can't scratch. So and I think they know it. So it's a funny little Jeff tune, and I never dislike funny little Jeff tunes. So give me Big Wave. I just gotta have it, you know.
Well, I feel like the See Here Now festival, I feel like that would be a good opportunity. Because they're on the water, or Ohana.
Don't waste it.
Yes, so get your tickets.
Don't waste it in New Jersey.
I know the waves on the Jersey Shore are, filled with syringes or, pollution and all that. But,
you should do it in New York City. In every in every movie about like an apocalypse or something about the world ending, where does a big wave hit? It's always New York City. Give it to me in MSG.
Like Tokyo. It's like Tokyo.
No, you
watch.
Oh no! I'm just talking. They make an apocalypse movie every 2 years. It's like a football movie. You're guaranteed to see a wave hitting New York City. It's.
They want the scale. They want the hitting the big skyscrapers. Yeah.
Exactly. It's yeah. We'll see it again, I'm sure.
Since this is going to be your parting ways from here, talk about this as a live track on this show. What'd you think?
Nothing special. It's they play it true to the album. There's really nothing
John
crazy
is triggered
about it
right now.
It's a. I mean, listen. The whole show is great, and as someone that really wants to see the song live, I'm not gonna sit here and just like blow it up out of proportion. I'm gonna say how it is. It's a pretty standard performance of a pretty standard song, but it's good, and it's super fun, and it sounds like they enjoy playing it. So I don't know why they won't play it more. And Dave, maybe you could tell me. Maybe is the crowd just not into the song? Is it what is it about it?
It's from Avocado.
Yeah.
It sounded like the crowd...
Your favorite? I know.
Yeah, it sounded like the crowd didn't react to it at first, and then once they got into it, they were like, all right, this is continuing the trend here. This is continuing to be, a good little section. But I thought they like landed the ending. I thought the end of this song was freaking phenomenal. Song like No Way and how it has the faded outro on the album, and Big Wave is like that too. So you have to think, what the hell are they going to do with it live so they don't, basically they have to smooth it out so they're all on the same page, because they don't know how they're going to finish it. And maybe that's why this is one of the lesser played live songs off of that record, because they just haven't figured it out. Right. But I think
it's possible,
like a finish.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think it's possible that maybe they just don't like the song, and that's fine. I don't think it's the best song on the album. I just, it's like I said, it's like it's just annoying now. I just want to see it. Like it's been long enough, and I just want to point out that you can't say that about Avocado. Come on, you're gonna say that about Avocado after you have albums like Backspacer and Lightning Bolt that are just so flat and dry. Avocado is genius on so many levels.
You know I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
because you knew it would hashtag trigger me, right?
I had a feeling I was going to referee a fight today. Oh boy.
No, I think Avocado as a whole does. I don't think people see the genius in it, and it's genius in a lot of ways. I feel personally, but
lyrically, it's one of my favorite albums for sure.
It's just the only, and we've talked about this a lot. The only problem I think with the entire album is the order, but besides that, I don't want to open up a can of worms here.
Well, this is we're going to say goodbye to you because you have other more important things to do, but you got your song in, and it's been I think this is episode 71 or 72. We're in the 70s now that we finally got to Big Wave, and we needed you to be a part of it because you were such an important part of the show from the early on, and we're hoping for Big Wave for all of us that want to ride the wave where it takes us. So just
you know what, even if I don't see it at MSG, if they play it somewhere on this tour, I'll be happy. Just
it makes sense in St. Louis.
Okay.
I'm just saying, one that's knocked off of my list. But what? So we're not going to have you around for the rest of this. But like real quick, how'd you view the rest of the show? Like, you want to give it a rating? You want to give like your favorite moment?
Yeah, I think everything is played pretty standard. There were no like absolutely mind exploding moments, and that's. Including Big Wave.
But, okay.
But what I think everything is played perfectly, and it's played well. Nothing really, like I said, nothing blew me away. It was stuff it was you've heard it before, but I mean it was absolutely on point. And I mean just the song choices are, like I said, bonkers. They're crazy. Placements are nuts. Placements are just awesome here, and we have to consider neighboring shows on tours now instead of just going to one MSG and then calling it a year, because obviously we miss shows like this. So yeah, Encore 1 is fantastic. Even flow in an Encore 1. Sorry, spoiler alert. I just want to point that out. I think that's really cool because it's unexpected and it's pushed and it's almost to the point where you get out of setlist 1 and it's like, well, maybe they're not going to do it tonight, and that's a Pearl Jam thing to do. Who knows? You don't know what you're going to get, but yeah, I don't really want to spoil anything for the set moving forward. But Smile, love to see it. Fucking Up, can't stand it. So that's one of the songs I was talking about before. It's All Night Fucking Up. I could have done without him. But besides that, I mean, stellar. You got some more Avocado in here, which you guys will get to soon, which I am never against, of course. So solid 8.5 for sure.
All right.
I just wish some of these songs, including Big Wave, would have, instead of being totally solid and perfect, would have blown me away, which they didn't. And so that's why I couldn't give it a 9. So I'm going to go 8.5 because everything else is just, pinpoint home run. Love it.
You know what? An 8.5 out of Matt is basically a 10. So, take that.
I mean, it's so good. This thing is so goddamn good.
Yeah.
And I wish I could talk about the rest of it, but I have to go play my own bass tonight, unfortunately.
Well, it was just for the small amount of time that we had you on. It was fun to have you back, and obviously, I want to do this with you as much as humanly possible. Although I love doing it with John and Buckley too. This is how it all
definitely
started, and we've been best friends since we were 6. So it means so much that not everybody's best friend and them are going to share musical tastes. And
right.
It just so happens that we do almost, for everything, which is crazy. So,
yeah,
we'll talk about another episode for you to get on in the future. Maybe some Wrigley stuff.
Yeah, and
who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And you might hear me pop up in a Patreon episode, a little quickie. Just I think what do you want to call that? Just
I call them live on
like
four legs, live on more legs.
Yeah,
Devo.
like it's just shooting the shit for like 15 minutes. So
yeah.
Look for that. It's definitely only worth $1. I could tell you that. But yeah, thanks for having me back, and definitely, like I said, get in touch with Randy through the Facebooks and Patreon and all that stuff about
we'll be
the
at
meetups
MSG, yeah,
for MSG, because I am very excited to see everybody. And like I said, we're going to be there super early to get online for the posters, and then we're going to be, holding the posters like a baby. I'm still considering driving in and just getting a garage.
Oh
day,
yeah,
so,
you absolutely should. I'm getting a backpack, so.
I was thinking about maybe I could even offer up maybe volunteer services if anyone gets posters or stuff. We could throw them in my car or something. So we'll figure all that stuff out, but we'll definitely see you soon.
Yes, indeed. All right. Thanks.
All right. I'm going to go listen to Big Wave on my way. I'm going to listen to Avocado on my way to rehearsal, I think. I got the itch.
All right. Nice seeing you, Matt.
See you, man.
I'll see you guys.
Okay, so bye, Matt. Thank you for coming on. That was fun to talk to him again. Obviously, for all you fans of the show that have been there from the beginning, from Fenway, remember him and remember his long, luscious locks of hair, and It's been about 8 or 9 months, and it was good to hear him again. But we continue forth through this show as we usually do and power through with a little section here of In Hiding, Not For You, and Daughter. And outside of Elderly Woman, Daughter is the first real hit of the night, and it's in the number 12 spot. So you're not getting even flow. You're not getting a give and a fly in this little section here. The expectant placement of things is so shuffled that I think it's surprisingly, pleasantly unexpected. I feel like if I'm at the show, I'm just throw more at me. Throw everything that you got here.
Oh yeah, they're trying to go through the catalog here.
Right. How many albums have been played so far? We have we have a couple of verses, we have a couple Vitalogy, we have a Yield. We don't have any 10 at this point, not until the next song after this section, but it's very it's eclectic, that's for sure, and everything again sounding pretty good.
Very, very good. Yeah.
It feels 2008, they're throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and seeing what's working. The two MSG shows had stuff like Who You Are, WMA in them, and Mansfield had some random stuff too, if I'm not mistaken. And I guess in between albums, they can really get away with that kind of sort of thing. That it was kind of a small tour anyway. East Coast, you're in between Boston, you're in between New York, so yeah, sure. Just do it up.
To pull out some rarities, yep.
Yeah, so Not For You had a great solo in it. It had a great Modern Girl tag. You get another brick in the wall for Daughter, and the crowd is loud and intense during that, of course. And just, again, energy during this one is just with, especially, sometimes when it's hot outside, I'm thinking the band needs to use the energy so they don't think about the heat. And I'm wondering if that's part of why they feel like they're so tight in this.
Now, I didn't see what the set was before any changes. Was there any more changes around here?
No, it was pretty straightforward.
No,
yeah. The only change that I saw was Sometimes Out, and then there were a couple of very small changes in the encore. But no, this was all this stuff here was meant to be there.
So they're writing the set list behind the stage going, God damn, it's hot. We got to get these guys hopping and get us cool and and get going.
Which is why my next point here, the next two songs, you get Why Go mid-set, and that's, to me, a throwback to 1993 through 95, where they would do that sometimes, because Why Go would, in the 91, 92 days, would be kind of early, but in 93 through 95, you have the earlier songs that you want to hit from verses like Animal and Go, and Why Go kind of gets flushed near the end because they still need to hit all of the other songs from two albums, so it's still going to get played, but it's kind of in that middle-ish spot where it's sort of on an island. But this is really just a powerful, energetic version, and again, from the unexpected category, that Why Go isn't, that's like an opener, that's a closer, that's an encore song.
It's normally, between the 1 in 10 spot, 300 and something times in the 1 to 10 spot, and then a few, around the 40s and 50s after that, between the 16 and 25 spot.
But still, that's it's few and far between, and I think.
Oh yeah.
I think at this time, Why Go, which is more commonly played now, it's a second or a third round pick if you're doing fantasy drafts. But I think back then it probably would have been a fifth or sixth. It's there, but it's not a guarantee.
Right. During that tour, they played it 13 times.
Oh, okay. So that's a lot.
This is the 11th time they're playing it during that tour.
Okay. But I guess I'm thinking 2006 then. Was that a little less?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because 2003 it came back. So this era is really the revitalization of Why Go.
Of Why Go, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So Why Go, Jeremy, it's great. Again, you get another hit with Daughter, and the hits are spread out just enough where you get little hidden gems like In Hiding and Why Go mixed in with there. And so far we're killing it through the first set here. This is some great stuff.
You got Why Go. I mean, most popular song before Why Go and most popular song after Why Go is Jeremy.
Both?
By far.
For both. Wow.
For Why Go, the most popular song before Why Go is Jeremy at 70 times, and the most popular song after Why Go is Jeremy at 91 times.
Wow. And I'm sure
So
that goes
it's
back
always
to
around there.
Yeah, I'm sure that goes back to like early 91 days where they're playing 9-song sets, and Why Go is number 3 and Jeremy's number 4 kind of
Right.
deal. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So
But they come back to this and they okay, we got to throw some 10 in there. Let's go back to what we used to do.
yeah, no, it's back to basics. You're right, and that's the first 2 appearances of 10. They're gonna finish off with a bunch of 10 songs here, kind of, with these 2, and then to end the set, and then to begin the encore. So in between Jeremy and the next one, Ed is talking a lot about how hot it is, and he's talking about the political stuff at the time. I think there was an email, butter email, that the White House refused to open from the EPA, and he's angry about it, and he's saying why they're not opening an important letter from the EPA because they don't like what it says, and just as more things change, they all stay the same. That's if you're an anti Pearl Jam political person, if you don't like them talking about politics, 2020 is not going to be the tour for you. So I guess stay home from MSG and give me your tickets.
Yeah.
Yes, please. All right. We got that in for the show. So that takes us into Gone.
Got that plug in. Yep.
Yeah. Gone, Immortality, and Porch are the final 3. Gone is fantastic here, and it's kind of become one of the forgotten gems of both Avocado and just their catalog in general. People don't talk about wanting to see Gone or how good versions of Gone are.
I do. I want to hear. I want to see it. I want to hear it.
Okay. Well, what attracts you to the song? More than those other people that don't, because I've seen it before, but I would kill to see it again.
This was the second time that I had seen it, and the first time I was like going into the show after hearing the album, I was like, I want to hear Gone. Like just the melody, the lyrics, it just resonated with me. I guess it was just I wanted to hear it.
No more upset mornings, no more trying evenings. This American dream I am disbelieving. When the gas in my tank feels like money in the bank, gonna blow it all this time. Take me one last ride. For the lights on this field, oh, that have lost all meaning. Gonna leave them all behind me, 'cause this
that he brings within that final chorus, and then Mike is just kind of soaring off into the distance with that solo there. Like, there's something to be said for how impassioned that could be, and how live you sort of think maybe the song kind of, because it has like a mid-tempo, like an undertone to it, maybe you kind of forget about it, but man, does this fly, and it's atmospheric when you hear it on the stage.
Oh, certainly. You get chills. I get chills when I hear it.
So
I haven't heard it that many times. So,
is this your favorite song off Avocado, or?
I would say it is.
Okay. Wow. All right. I would say it's probably
I know there'll probably get
bottom
some
of my
haters out
top
there, but
5.
it's
Bottom top 5 is good. But I mean, I love Inside Job, and I love. I'm a big fan of Comatose, and this is probably like 4 or 5. One of these days I'll do my rankings. I don't want to take anything away from what Jamily Matters does. They do a good job. So I'll do an avocado ranking at some point. But Immortality, Porch, boy, Immortality is always just, again, you use that there's a key phrase there: atmospheric, intense, and electric, and just outdoor venue. That's, I think, of 2 songs when I think of outdoor venue. I think of Immortality and I think of Footsteps. And boy, does
this was great. Like this was the 4th show that I had seen of Pearl Jam, and this actually was my first Immortality, and I was floored to hear it.
No, they did a little bit of the arpeggiated intro. Did you know going into it that was a thing that they did?
At the time, I don't think I did.
At
the time, I don't think I did. I was just I don't think at that point I was listening to a whole lot of bootlegs.
Right.
So I don't remember. I had 2003s, and I had only purchased shows I had been to. So since I had never heard
right
Immortality before, I probably never picked up another one to hear that they're going into it. I know that's coming, and so I was surprised.
It's one of the great things about continuing to go to live shows and continuing to uncover the bootlegs, because same exact thing for this song. I always loved Immortality, but the minute I saw it live and I heard the intro, and I didn't know what it was, but then they kind of delicately, I'm like, okay, cool, what is this? And then out of nowhere, dum 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 dum. I think I might have told the story last week. I don't remember, but I got this goosebump chill inside of me, this warm reaction that I was so happy to hear and happy to have it, and I had not heard it live before I had heard it at a show, and it's those times, they're more simpler times, and now we know everything, and then unfortunately nothing's a surprise anymore, which I'm hoping kind of changes on this tour. But shit, Immortality was one of them that I just, the minute I felt it live, I said, yeah, this is now an instant top 5 songs for me to hear live, and top 5 song for me in general that I love. So,
I'd agree with that.
Never a bad version. Porch to finish off, mildly riffy, no wacky strumming, but no 1 2 3 4. So it is tolerable. It's just kind of, it's rhythmic, but yeah, we of course post 2003 we always have to mention what kind of porch it is, just because that's how it goes. But it's a very energetic way to end the first set. Is Ed doing anything crazy during this, or is it very is it basic, him just high-fiving fans and stuff?
You know what? It was probably a little foggy right now. I don't remember.
You were hobbling still?
I was probably still hobbling and probably in pain and and going, yeah, I was probably a little foggy at this point.
Okay, so yeah, I would think that
I was probably a few beers in, trying to keep my ankle feeling better.
That's the ticket right there. But look, speaking of which, there's no real piss break song in all of this. I wouldn't leave during any of these.
And that's why I'm glad I went much earlier.
Yeah, right. You always got to be prepared, folks. Don't drink too much. We should do a tips for being a Pearl Jam fan. Drink 1 beer per hour. Drink, go to the bathroom at this point. Drink this amount of water.
PSA, yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's get into the encore. We start the encore with Garden, a 10 song, the 4th 10 song after nothing from 10 being played in the first 12 songs. But the show before, like I mentioned before, we went to the MSG show that was 2 days before this, and Garden was played for the first time in 52 shows. So I think I always love seeing that they kind of, they play a song and they're like, okay, we're feeling this, let's continue doing this, instead of, hey, we played this and this is just a one-off. I like when they either continue it because they thought maybe, oh, well, that didn't gel the last time, let's do it again, let's see how we feel about it, or, hey, that felt really good. I think this was a case of, that felt really good last time, let's open an encore with it. That's, to me, what this version felt like.
Sadly, this is my one and only Garden that I've ever seen.
Wow.
I've been to some shows, but this is the only Garden, and I hold that to my heart. It's a dear song, and I want to hear it again. Bring it back to MSG. Come on.
Well, you're in the Garden.
Come on, I know.
Yeah, they're in the Garden. I think the last time I heard it was at the Garden, if I'm not mistaken. I've heard it 3 times. 2 times that I've heard it were in the Garden. Of course, the one before this, and then the last time I saw him in the Garden in 2016 in Memphis. So I would say that there's a decent chance you can get Garden in the Garden this year.
Oh, I'm sure. It's a place you should hear. I mean, it's...
They love wordplay, and they love, kind of, jokes and all that stuff. So, again, a song you're not going to get in a set. It's this treasure chest of just uncut gems of Pearl Jams that it's like the Sads and the Brain of Jays of the world in this set, and that's adding in an earlier gem as opposed to those that are either B-side gems or later album ones. So, I love how they're mixing up what type of uncommon stuff that they're doing. And this next section, although it's all common here, there is a spot in it that has an uncommon territory about it. It's Better Man into Even Flow into Comatose. And Even Flow, of course, is not an encore song. So how often, like maybe since then, has Even Flow been an encore song even?
All right, so Even Flow was 33 times in the Encore 1. No Encore 2 or Encore 3s ever. And then 4 times in another Encore. In Encore 2, I believe. And then and all the rest of them are in the main set.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is really weird because obviously during this whole episode, and I'm sure I'll make a statement before the episode airs, that we literally were in the middle of talking about Even Flow, and I'm getting thousands of texts. I don't know what's going on. I'm paying attention to doing this stuff, and obviously it's postponed. And this is our sincere reaction to this right now, as this is all going on, and we're trying to process this. Dave, you have a hotel in New York City that you booked, and I have a flight from St. Louis and a hotel that I've booked, and this absolutely fucking sucks. There's no other way to say it. This 100% sucks. Sucks so bad. Looking forward so much to the new album. Looking forward so much to them being on tour for the first time in 2 years. And, you know, they're getting to this point now where it's going to be few and far between. They're going to go and have more 2019s where they're not going to tour a lot. And now we get this, and this is just another just major setback that they have to cancel. What is it, 16, 17 shows? All of them just done? That's absolutely unheard of. It's tough. This is tough because obviously we all want to see them, and obviously, you know, we don't really know what the future with this virus is, and you know, it seems to be spreading. It seems to be spreading pretty quick, and I believe science. I believe the scientists. I believe that, you know, that they don't have all the answers yet, and they're still trying to look rapidly. And the people that say that the media is overblowing this, no, apparently not, because look, Pearl Jam is a band that would do their homework. They would do their homework, and they would realize that, you know. Well, we have to continue to finish this show that we're doing, even though it's going to be challenge. It's going to suck because literally everything that I mentioned in the beginning of the show that we were excited for is all gone, or just postponed. It'll come back later. I got to think at least somewhat positively about this. So, obviously, you know, we'll have to change some things up, you know. So, yeah, tour week that we were going to have a different episode each day this week. That probably ain't happening. So, you know.
Yeah.
Burn your predictions, burn your assumptions. Save your predictions, burn your assumptions. All right. Let's finish this set.
And we continue. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be with a lack of enthusiasm, but we're going to try. Mm-hmm. So, Comatose, after Even Flow, hitting a stride. Ed is at the point where he still, you know, knows the lyrics in Comatose, and the bridge sounds really good. Sounds great. Wish we can hear it in 2020. Who knows if we will. Shit, fuck me. Am I going to say this after every fucking song?
I know. This is hard.
Of course we have to be recording the episode that was going to be released the day of the frickin' tour. Well, Leash and Blood, back-to-back, are at least really, really good. And you're ending 2008 with two songs that defined a generation of angry Pearl Jam fans 15 years prior to this. Ones that had their moment.
Other than us now.
Yeah, they had their moment in the spotlight live very early on, 94. You know, maybe Leash in 92, even earlier, but Blood, 94 and 95, those are prime years for Blood. And it really, you know, not only that, but this version of Leash, it's great because you don't, you know, they brought it back in 2006, and when they brought it back, they started singing Lucky Face during it, and you're like, oh, well, you know, they lost a little bit of the vigor, lost a little bit of its energy. But this version is probably one of the best post-drought versions of Leash that there is.
We will find our place. Drop the leash, drop the leash.
Mike's putting on in here is just, it's freaking, it's great. I wish we can hear it in 2020. I'm still, you know, in all this, I haven't looked online a lot, so I haven't, you know, we're processing this as we're talking this out together. So, you know, Blood's great. Both of them are just brutally powerful, and I don't think you're going to see these two back to back anytime soon. You know, in the last 10 years since they had done actual shows, they weren't doing these back to back. This is probably one of the final times that you're doing it. Blood is really a throwback. This is
the only time they've done Blood after Leash.
Ever.
Ever.
It feels like
one time only.
It feels like the two of them kind of, I don't know, it feels like they belong together almost. They were sort of the angry anthems of their album before Vitalogy had all of the angry anthems. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but they're great, and they finish off the first encore and it gets us into the second one. Wow. I'm just looking at my notes, and encore 2, my notes say Ed introduces the band, talks about how much of a stoner that Matt is, and the next song is Smile, and literally my next line is, let's see what's going to happen with Dance of the Clairvoyants, where they do a little bass guitar swap for Jeff and Stone, just like Smile. I'm not smiling right now. If I'm smiling, it's ironically. Jeez. It's just, yeah. I think the best thing that we can do right now is just let's just finish up. The set finishes up. Smile, Evolution, Alive, Fucking Up Ledbetter. I disagree with Matt. I thought that Fucking Up was really good. You know, big party, big celebration for the song. Yeah. You know, they're eating it up. It was great. Great version. Ledbetter has a little wing tag on it. Sounds, you know, it's got that fuzz distortion delay effect to it. That sounds like an older version, but it sounds pretty good. And Evolution, Stone is doing the solo, and Stone kind of messed up the solo, so it leads to an Ed joke that he should go back on bass. So, all right, well, good stuff. Top 3 moments from this show. You got them. How's your ankle feeling at the end?
Yeah, probably pretty good after that. Probably a little liquored up at this point at the end. Yeah, a little. I definitely liked Little Wing during Yellow Ledbetter. You know, that was probably a highlight for me. There was actually quite a few songs. It was the first time that I actually heard them. You know, first and only time that I've heard them. Like In Hiding. This was actually my first daughter that I had ever heard.
Whoa,
amazing!
That's four in.
Yeah, four concerts in. That was my first daughter.
Wow.
It was actually my first porch.
First daughter, first porch. Jeez, you're busting a lot of cherries at this one.
Yeah,
that's probably why it's important for you.
First Leash. I know Smile's not played all that much, but that was my first Smile. My first Smile, and I've seen it 5 times now. So
wow. Okay.
So it was. It's
a pretty good stat for Smile. They don't do it as much as you'd think, like 70-something times.
Yeah.
So,
yep,
cool.
77.
I think, you know, I'm not gonna order things, but I think the stuff that I really liked from the show, I liked Brain of J. I liked, just scrolling through, I liked Gone, and I liked Garden. Yeah. Those are. Oh, you know what? I really liked the leash blood combo. That's really my favorite thing from this. I just, I would have been more passionate about
Angry
it.
angst, yeah.
Yeah, I would have been more passionate talking about it and more positive had, this show not have gone to, basically been struck by the coronavirus. So, where are you going to rank it? What are you going to rank the show? Out of 10.
I'd have to completely agree with Matt, and I would actually go. I'd probably go 8.5, 9. So probably, since I was there, a 9. It was very, very influential in my my Pearl Jam fandom. This show.
Obviously, I'm very.
A 9.
I'm very biased towards Hartford shows, and I will give this a 9 as well because I really, really enjoyed all of the rare stuff, and I enjoyed the energy from the show. Listening to it was a pleasure. Before we finish things up, I do want to read a story from Kevin Murray, who's the patron who requested this show. And his story here, I'll just kind of read verbatim. The 2008 tour was generally really great. No album tours feel like the band is super loose, and the show was a really perfect example of that. I had gone to the first night in Camden and the Garden shows, but this one really was far and away the best one. I would like to shout out Kurt, who had been a 10 Club member since 1993, who I met on the PJ forums 2 days before the show. He sold me an 18-year-old me his spare, which was in the fourth fucking row, 2 days before the show so I can move up from the lawn. Just one of 1,000 examples that this community can be the absolute best. Truly was an experience I would never forget. I caught 2 pics from Mike and 1 from Ed, and everyone around us was great to spend a night with. As to the show, it was hot. It was beautiful out. That night had a great tailgate before the show, but the pavilion was hot, and I remember being drenched with sweat at the end of the night. Also, the Philip Glass Metamorphosis 2 music as the band takes the stage, definitely my favorite as it builds with the perfect feeling of anticipation. Kurt and I knew the show was going to be fun. The second Can't Keep finished, I remember turning to him saying, "We need a breaker fall right now," and then the band kicked right into breaker fall, and we both lost our minds. The first 5 songs that night before Small Town were incredible. Way to start the show, and it felt like the band had such energy. The first encore was the other real standout. Garden's one of my favorites. Then Even Flow in the encore was a nice surprise. And for a song that's played every night, then Comatose Leash Blood is quite the way to end a set. Not sure if you guys watched any of the videos. I did not get to watch the video. But during Leash, Eddie brought out a teenager. I believe her name was Katie. And she from the side of the stage, and she was dancing around. He was dancing with her. He was having a ton of fun all night, and he thinks the girl was part of Make-A-Wish. And the crowd totally ate that part up. So it was a very cool moment and just showed how loose and energetic the band and the crowd were all night. Shout out to Eddie telling Stone to go back to bass after he flubbed to do the Evolution solo since they had just played Smile, a joke that still makes me laugh to this day when I listen to the show. Finally, this was a great night where I wouldn't change a thing. The paper set list did cross off sometimes and replace it with Can't Keep, but that doesn't change anything. The set flowed well all night, and it really was a perfect summer night that capped off a great week of shows. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you writing in. Sorry the circumstances couldn't be more positive, and I would have loved to actually finish the show up on a high note, but shit just happens, and this is obviously airing a little more than a week after everything is going down, so everybody's kind of had a chance. I probably will have differing thoughts and opinions of it, and maybe by this point Pearl Jam would give the 10 Club fans a favor and just give them the album as an apology or something like that. I don't know, but anyway, Dave, thanks for coming on. Thanks for
Thanks for having me.
yeah, the fantasy stuff, we'll get to it at some point. Teams are still...
It'll give me some time now, yeah.
Yep, teams are still going to be
Sadly.
intact. This was supposed to be a really busy month, and now everything is kind of up in the air. So, look, we might need a bit of a respite. We'll see. We'll see what happens next week. We're supposed to be doing Krakow 2018, going back around the world to Poland. Yeah, again, we're recording this right as the news is dropping, so it's absolutely crazy, and our minds are not really in the best place. So, again, Dave, better circumstances that we'll have you on for next time, and livefootsteps.org. You can go through all the old stuff and check out some of
Reminisce.
Yeah, check out some of your past shows, and that's all we can do at this point is we can reminisce. And I'm sorry on our part that I didn't do more on our end to hold up spirits, but again, I think it's kind of reflective of the moment that's going on right now and how we all feel. We all put aside a massive part of our lives to dedicate to this tour, traveling far and wide. And, we're, of course, we as a podcast are not immune from it. This is our passion is going to see them live. This is what we care so much about. So, why we cover shows and love the show. So I wanted to be as transparent during this episode as possible. We started off with a bang, and it was a hell of a lot of fun, and it was a Matt reunion, but unfortunately, we couldn't just finish this with a smile and act like everything was okay, because right now it's not. And we will try to make sense of it in, as quickly as we can. But until then, thanks for tuning in. And I miss you already. I really miss you, because I'm not going to be seeing you. Not going to be seeing you on tour, so I really miss you guys right now. And it's going to just take a while to sink in. So miss you already, miss you always. We will try to be back next week. If we're not, then just hang tight, and we'll get to you at some point soon. I think maybe it's a good idea that we do come back next week just to hold stuff together. So we'll see you then.